Power bill through the roof? At 320 Solar, that power bill will be no more. In fact, about 90% of our customers report lower solar payments than with electricity. That's more power in your pocket. 320 Solar. Power up.
It's the Audible with Joshua Cole Allen, live on Bucks Report.
Welcome to the Audible, powered by 320 Solar. I'm your host, Joshua Cole Allen, changing the call here live every Wednesday night. Finally say goodbye to your electric bill. 320solar.com, zero out of pocket till 2022. 320solar.com, check them out, guys. They've got amazing deals. They've got estimate deals going on. Just check them out, 320solar.com. We have an action-packed show for you today. Lots of stuff going on. We have Orlando Franklin from 104.3 The Fan, former starting right tackle for the Chargers and the Broncos behind enemy lines. He'll come on here and break down that Denver Broncos team who's been hurting with injuries. They've got hit really hard starting the beginning of the season and all the way up till now. We'll get into that with him. Later on in the show, we will have Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker in front of the show, Quentin Bell. He'll be on here to talk about how the Bucs are doing, where they can improve, taking any questions and comments. So, guys, get in the comment section. Same thing for Orlando Franklin. We'll ask him some comments or questions that you guys have. Make sure you guys get in here. We'll announce the final winner of the giveaway. Maybe we'll start that back up in a little bit. But for now, this is the final one. So, guys, welcome to the show. We're going to start off how we normally do with the kickoff. Breaking down the top stories around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The kickoff is brought to you by Jessica Papalardo. She's a local independent travel agent who books anything from car rentals to hotels, cruises, theme parks, all-inclusives, and more. All her travel services are free to you. They're free to you. So let her do all the work while you have all the fun. Check her out on her Facebook page at facebook.com/MDVJessica or her website at Jessica at mdvtrips.com. Not only have a stress-free vacation at no extra cost, but you'll be helping out a small business. And that's the goal here, guys, helping out small businesses, especially in this pandemic. So we'll get right into it. We'll start with the injury report. The Buccaneers did release their injury report today. Chris Godwin is back to full participation. He's passed a concussion protocol. He will play this Sunday if everything works out. Some not so good news about some of the other wide receivers. Scotty Miller has a hip and a groin injury. He was limited in practice, so that's something to monitor. And Justin Watson did not practice at all. He's dealing with a shoulder injury. Things to monitor throughout the week. JPP popped up this week with a knee injury, limited in practice. We know he had that knee arthroscopic surgery over the offseason. So just something to watch, something to monitor to make sure everything's good. And then Donovan Smith, we knew he was on the injury report last week with that knee injury. He seemed re-injured or aggravated, to say the least, during the game, came out for a play. But he looks like he's a limited participant, and I think he'll be good to go. Something, again, we need to monitor these injuries over the week to make sure that these players are good to go and they're going to be healthy and not further injure themselves to be able to contribute to this team. There's a couple roster moves. Practice squad, active roster. Tanner Hudson was signed to the 53-man roster today. So we have him back on the squad. Anthony Auclair obviously out with a calf injury on the short-term IR. Mazzy Wilkins, who was signed to the active roster last week with that placement of Anthony Auclair on IR, has been released, has not been signed back to the practice squad because they have signed other players there. They re-signed Zach Shackelford after releasing him yesterday. So that rookie center, undrafted rookie center, is back on the team. And then they signed tight end Daniel Helm, who's a Duke prospect. He spent time with the Chargers. Then the big signing, well, not big because it's still the practice squad, was cornerback Ross Cockrell, another Blue Devil from Duke. He has 43 starts over his career, including 11 last year with the Panthers. And he even had a pick six off Jameis Winston in London last year. So a good depth signing. He's 29 years old. We obviously know that this secondary is very young for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So bringing in a veteran who has experience starting, it's a good signing for this team. Mazzy Wilkins will be missed. We've had him on the show a few times. He's a Tampa Bay born and raised, brought up through Plant High School to UCF to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he will be missed. Hopefully he finds an opportunity elsewhere because he's a good guy and he's a good player. Some other news, the Buccaneers chose to protect their players this week. They only protected 3, which was kind of interesting. Maybe they'll protect someone else later in the week. They have until later in the week to do it. But the consistency, guys, here, it's kicker Greg Joseph, once again for the 3rd week in a row, wide receiver Cyril Grayson for the 3rd week in a row, and Chappelle Russell for the 2nd week in a row. Those 3 players have been protected. They do have one more spot open to protect somebody. We'll see if that happens going down the line, if they choose to use that protection spot. But it looks like they like what they're seeing out of Joseph. Obviously, Grayson got in the game and had that ball bounce right off his helmet over the weekend. He's got to bring that in. And Chappelle Russell is a promising seventh rounder who many thought would make the team. I think he's got a lot to bring. And with Josh Rosen, that's a name who was on there that first week, but you haven't seen him on there. So there must be some sort of agreement that Josh Rosen, like he's making the money from the Miami Dolphins, about $3.6 million. He's getting the practice squad money. And there's got to be some sort of agreement that says, hey, I'm going to stick around here, learn as much as I can to become a better quarterback, and then see what the future holds. Obviously, if a starting option did come up, and as we'll get into halftime, there are a few quarterbacks who are banged up or injured. We'll see how that plays out going forward. But for now, Josh Rosen is all in. So moving on into this last week's game. What a game that was. There were some highlights, spectacular plays. Brady's arm looked sharp as ever. You saw that on that 50-yard strike down to Mike Evans. Just a bullet, throwing it right through. But the defense, man, the defense looked amazing. And my boy Antoine Winfield Jr., who I said on that first pregame show at the deck, he will be the defensive rookie of the year. I believe that Antoine Winfield will be that guy. He finished last week with the 2nd highest totals of tackles on the team. He finished with a forced fumble, a sack, a tackle for a loss. He was disruptive. He was a playmaker everywhere. That's after finishing that first week with nearly 2 interceptions. And for that, he's been nominated for Pepsi Rookie of the Week. So make sure you go online on NFL.com, on Twitter, wherever, find that and vote for him, because that's just going to help him get more recognition around the league. Not that he needs it, because according to Pro Football Focus, he's already the 2nd-rated safety in the entire league through 2 weeks. He's got a 77.4 grade. He's going to ball out. He's going to be an amazing guy for this defense, for this team going forward. I'm very excited for the potential and prospects of this player, Antoine Winfield Jr. But he's not the only hit in this draft. Obviously, we haven't seen much of the other guys, but Tristan Wirfs was the highest graded rookie total. Tristan Wirfs graded out at 86% grade. Highest graded rookie. We saw what he did with Cam Jordan. We've seen what he did this week. He's just getting better week by week. The guy's an animal. He's the man. He's great in run blocking, obviously, but his pass blocking has been his pass blocking has been improving every week. He's getting better. He's going to be a dominant right tackle in this league. The question is the other side. And I know everyone's thinking about that first game. Everyone was calling for Donovan Smith's head, but he bounced back. He bounced back very well last week. He came in there. He did his job. He got injured, came up for one play, didn't let up any sacks after letting up 2 last week. He did have, a holding call in the 3rd quarter, but, I mean, those things happen sometimes. And protecting your quarterback, would you rather let up a sack, let up a potential forced fumble, or take the hold? I think that's more the case than it was. I think that he'll continue to progress. I've got an article coming out where I'm all in. I'm all in on Donovan Smith. As much as sometimes his play really worries me and I'm scared for Brady's life, I think that he's going to be fine. I think that he's going to consistently get better. I think he's got talent. He can be a little unfocused. I don't want to use the word lazy, but he can be a little unfocused. But Bruce Arians is Bruce Arians, and he'll bench him no matter what. If he's not getting the job done, he'll figure it out. He might move Wirfs over there, put Hagan there, try to make a trade. This team is all in. It's ready to go. It's going for anything. Pardon my French, Bruce Arians says we haven't done shit after we beat the Carolina Panthers. And that's true. This team hasn't done anything. So no one's job is completely safe. It's not like everyone's clicking on full cylinder. If there's an option to win a game and that means taking out someone like Donovan Smith who's not producing, then he's going to do it. But I don't think that's going to be the issue. I think Donovan Smith's going to bounce back like he showed this past week, and he's going to get the job done. He's going to be solid. He's not going to be spectacular. He's not going to be a Pro Bowler, Nick Citro. He's not going to be any of that, but he's going to do the job. He's going to be a stable guy, and he's going to hold up his own. Now, of course, we're talking about a team in the Carolina Panthers that was missing one of their best defensive tackles and one of their promising young rookies in Yuta Gross-Matos. And the lineup gets hard. I mean, the NFL's been hit hard by injuries, but going up, he's got Bradley Chubb next week against the Broncos. He's got Joey Bosa coming up, Melvin Ingram, Zadarius Smith, and Preston Smith for the Packers. There's some guy, Khalil Mack. There's some real talented pass rushers that he's going to be going up against and that are going to look at the tape and see how Wirfs has been doing. And maybe now Wirfs isn't the guy they target. Maybe it's Donovan Smith. Maybe it's that's the guy they go after, and that's what happens. It's going to be very interesting to see how that works out. I'm interested in it, but I think he's going to come through. This is how I feel. So defense, speaking of that defense, and I said this is going to be a top 5 defense, potential top 5 offense. I still stand by that. I think this offense is going to be clicking on all cylinders very shortly. I think they're going to get it down. But the defense is the 11th total defense in the league overall, 11th total. Their scoring is tied for 16th. Their rushing is 4th, so a couple steps back, but they'll get that back. And their passing is 21st. But, I mean, Teddy Bridgewater, we're only week 2, so these numbers aren't they're real numbers. But, I mean, it's such a small sample size to really put them under a microscope. Teddy Bridgewater passed for a lot of yards at the end of the game. But 11 total, I'll stand for that right now. I think they're going to continue to improve. You saw through the first 2 weeks, the defense has really been the highlight. Devin White is amazing. He leads the whole NFL in tackles right now with 26, excuse me. He's just getting better. He's going to be a stud, top 10 player, potential defensive player of the year. I think he's going to do great. I think he's going to continue to get better. This defense as a whole will continue to get better. So back on this defense, and speaking of Devin White and the guy who mentored him, Levante David, was the highest rated defender in all of Sunday football with a 90 even grade. Best guy out there on the field. He's going to continue to get it done, continue to be a leader, sideline to sideline. His coverage, he's 3rd in coverage of all defenders, not linebackers, of all defenders in the league, cornerbacks, safeties, everybody. He's 3rd in coverage with a 91.6% grade. That's just crazy. He's a linebacker outranking cornerbacks and safeties. It's nuts to think of, but that's the player that Levante David is. And you know, as well as he's played, his counterpart on the offensive line, Ali Marpet, had an elite grade on Sunday, 90.1 overall, 88.7 pass, 85.3 run. He's shown up. He's been the guy that this team thought he was going to be. He's going to be a Pro Bowl, potential all-pro player. He's everything you want in a guard. He's mean. He's gritty. He does his job. He blocks well. He holds his blocks. He doesn't take stupid penalties. Ali Marpet should be a Pro Bowler, if not an All-Pro this year. And just coming back down to All-Pro and former All-Pros and former Pro Bowlers, Gronkowski has been a ghost out there. And when asked about it, Arians said he was brought in to be a tight end. Whether he's catching 0 balls or 10 balls, he's brought in to be a tight end. We're not going to force feed him the ball. Whoever's open is going to get it. And if he's open, he's going to get it. He said he's not the same player who's going to run 40 yards down the field anymore. Whether we see more Gronk catching the ball or if he's going to be a blocker, that remains to be seen. That remains to be if that was just coach speak. But BA is, as someone put it so nicely in the comments, he's a no BS coach. He tells it like it is. So the fact that Gronk hasn't been involved, I don't know if he's going to get more involved. I'd love to see what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Gronk is going to get him more involved? Do you think this is just kind of gamesmanship because they didn't need him yet? What are your thoughts on the whole Gronk situation? BA kind of told it like it was and said, hey, he'll get the ball when he gets the ball. So that's going to be something else to watch. Gronk and Donovan Smith, how do they progress? And how does this team progress overall? Because the power rankings have come out for week 2, and there are some pretty differentiating spots here, but pretty much the middle of the pack. That's what they have this team as. ESPN has them listed as 15, Yahoo 14, USA Today 12, CBS Sports 13, NFL.com 12, and Pro Football Talk 9. I think Pro Football Talk is probably right on the money there. At 9, I think they've got some work to do. There's obviously some teams that have stepped up and have been doing a lot better. But I think the Bucs are in the conversation. I think they're right there. And with that being said, we're going to move on from the kickoff. We have our guest in the lobby. Let me go over here. So our next spot, Behind Enemy Lines, is brought to you by Pewter Plumbing. Let them tackle your plumbing needs. They're state certified, serving Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco counties. Call 813-478-9150 for a free estimate. Saying that, let's go out to our correspondent for the Broncos, former NFL lineman, right tackle Orlando Franklin from 104.3 The Fan. Orlando, how you doing? Thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So obviously it's a big matchup this week. Brady has notable struggles in Mile House Stadium, but there's a lot going on that team too with injuries. So Drew Lock, Cortland Sutton, Von Miller, the list kind of goes on and on over there. How does this team overcome all these injuries to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, whose defense has looked really well and the offense seems to start to be clicking?
You got to get creative. As a former offensive lineman, I'd be yelling at Coach Shermer and asking him, hey, we got to be able to go max protection in certain situations where we only send out 3 wide receivers and now you have 7 guys in protecting the passer, giving him the time that he needs, because although Cortland Sutton is down, you have KJ Hamler, who's a speedster that the Broncos drafted in the 2nd round. Jerry Jeudy runs the best routes I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And that's a lot to say because I've been around some great, prolific wide receivers in my career. And you got Noah Fant and the young Albert O. So I'm anticipating Albert O being up from here on out to help, supplement some of those receptions that Cortland Sutton may normally get with the speed that he brings to the game and the mismatches that he could have on Sundays, whether it's a linebacker or a cornerback.
Now with Drew Lock out, obviously it leads to a precarious situation. You've got a quarterback there that has experience. He currently has more throws down the field past 20 yards than Patrick Mahomes. How do you think he adjusts being able to have a full week going into a game plan? And how do you think he does against this defense over here that has gone after the quarterback, hasn't really had success with sacks as much as they did last year, but are still a formidable team with playmakers all over the field?
I think Jeff Driscoll is going to be fine, to be honest with you. I mean, it couldn't possibly get any worse than it was on Sunday against the Steelers, giving up that offensive line, giving up 7 sacks and 17 quarterback hits. Yeah. So with that being said, the Broncos had an opportunity to win the football game at the end. So I'm one of the more optimistic hosts on our station out here in Denver. And just I kind of call it how I see it. And with Jeff Driscoll back there at the quarterback position, the offensive line needs to be able to help them out. And a lot of that is being right. It's being right when you break the huddle as far as recognizing the defense, recognizing everything that you were taught, and as far as just film study, understanding where the pressure's coming from. So with that being said, I think Driscoll did a heck of a job last week when he came in for the Broncos and being able to sit back there in the pocket. He didn't get happy feet. He knew he was going to get hit. He was getting hit all day, and he stayed in there and still threw the ball down the field. So that was very impressive, especially for me, just looking at some quarterbacks that sometimes, those guys get banged up and they're like, oh, I don't want to do this no more. And they just get rid of the football. But he stood tough back there and threw the ball and stepped into a lot of throws when he knew the contact was coming.
Yeah, that's always encouraging to see. He's a professional. He's been in this situation before. So I think that he'll be fine and ready. On the defensive side, obviously Von Miller's been out since the beginning of the season, but A.J. Bouye He's now out on IR. He won't be back until the earliest week 5. What does that do to go up against a guy like Tom Brady, who admittedly has had struggles? But I mean, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. How do these cornerbacks match up against these wide receivers, and how do they plan on stopping them or slowing them down?
It's going to be a track meet. It's going to be an absolute track meet out there. I've played against Tom Brady many times, been involved in a couple of the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning battles. And the thing that separates Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers from the other quarterbacks is when they know that there's a weakness out there, they attack that weakness. Mm-hmm. I've been in games where Peyton said, hey, listen, this guy, whoever this guy's on, we're coming to you all day. So you're going to get 12, you're going to get 12 targets or 13 targets today. We're going to try to pick you on these guys. And I would imagine that Brady does the exact same thing. So very scared for the Broncos secondary this week. I think that O.J. Moody, the third round pick out of Iowa, really exposed himself this past week in how he played. And I think Tom Brady's just going to attack him all day. And just that's another thing. You look at Bryce Callahan, the slot nickel for the Broncos, and he's a smaller guy. So I think that Tom's going to try to attack him as well. Because when you got Chris Godwin, when you got Mike Evans, these guys are tall guys. These guys are. I anticipate Tom Brady going for 350 this Sunday at 43 years old.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, as you said, a track meet. There's going to be a lot of passing down the field from this team, and later in the game, if the Bucs do have a lead, a lot of passing down the field with a speedster like you mentioned, KJ Hamler and Jerry Jeudy, who runs just such crisp routes. But on the defensive side, going up against the offensive line, Bradley Chubb is there. Obviously, Von Miller's not there. Have you watched anything on Tristan Wirfs and Donovan Smith on this potential matchup, being an offensive lineman? I don't know if you study other offensive linemen around the league, especially rookies.
No, definitely study Tristan Wirfs. Tristan Wirfs was my guy coming out this year in the draft. Wish the Broncos would have made a move to get up and get him, but unfortunately.
Hold on one second, Orlando. You're kind of freezing up. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we kind of lost you. You said Tristan Wirfs was your guy. Wish the Broncos made a move.
Yeah, he was my guy coming in the draft. Wanted the Broncos to go after him. Unfortunately, you guys got him down there, but he's a heck of a player. He was a guy that could play that right tackle position. I know that's where you guys have him right now, but he's a guy that easily could move over to the left tackle position. It's going to be a tough day for the Broncos. Right now, those are right ahead of the list, leading the NFL as far as their pressure packages, and they continue that. Von Miller goes down right before then. You kind of got to shake things up. And I look for the Broncos to continue to pressure every quarterback they play against. But I don't know if you're going to be able to get against a guy like Tom Brady, because what Tom does really well is he gets the ball out of his hands. He understands that he's 43 years old. He's not going to want to take a lot of hits. So he's going to try to get the ball out of his hands. And the big mismatch going into this game is the Broncos linebackers. What on passing downs, and Tom's really going to have getting the ball out of his hand when you look at deep bang full team.
Yeah, exactly. If you guys are just joining, this is the Audible, powered by 320 Solar, 320solar.com. I'm joined by Orlando Franklin of 104.3 The Fan, Denver, former starting right tackle for the Broncos and Chargers. So what are some of the keys of the game for this Broncos team to actually come out and have a win? I mean, no game, it's the NFL, as you know, as a former player, no game is guaranteed, doesn't matter what they look like. We saw what happened week 1 with Jacksonville over Indy and Washington over Philly. Some games that people chalked up to already losses. What are some things they need to do to really be able to come out here and win this game and have a real shot?
Denver's going to have a shot in winning this game or keep it even closer, competitive. They got to run the football. They got to be effective. So that's Melvin Gordon going for 4 yards a carry. That's Royce Freeman going for 4 yards a carry. and now getting into third and manageable situations where the quarterback in Driscoll could get the ball out of his hands as fast as possible. And you got to find a way to keep Noah Fant up and available all game. That's kind of been the issue with the Broncos so far, where Noah Fant is either catching balls in the first half and now he disappears in the second half, or like last week against the Steelers, where he's non-existent in the first half, but then has a couple great catches in the second half. So the Broncos got to find a way to get the ball to Noah Fant, because he's a mismatch. It doesn't matter if you put a corner on him. It doesn't matter if you put a linebacker on him. He could go up and win those matchups. Offensively, you just got to keep it third and manageable. Can't have those 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s. You really got to keep it to the 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 3s. So it's very important on what you do on 1st and 2nd down. Defensively, you got to try to hold on for dear life. It's going to be a long day, no matter what Tom Brady does good is he takes advantage of people's weaknesses. And right now, the Broncos have a lot of weakness on defense.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think the Buccaneers, that's what they're going to have to do, is kind of go after those cornerbacks and try to then, use the run game to slow it down. Tom Brady struggled back there. For some reason, that's the only place where I think he's got a losing record in multiple games, including playoffs. Obviously, that in the Super Bowl, in that AFC championship matchup.
Yeah.
He struggles there, and I see that continuing. When I first looked at the schedule, I said, "Oh, Denver at home, altitude. He's going to have a tough time there." But I think that if the offensive line can hold up, and he can try to find ways to exploit that banged up secondary, he's going to be able to have a good day throwing the ball. Philip Lindsay is out for you guys too. How much does that hurt? Having that change of pace back? Are fans, and are you confident in Royce Freeman being that backup guy? Because Melvin Gordon, while he's played well, he does have that chance of, it's like a Todd Gurley situation. When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? Please don't let it happen. And Philip Lindsay's been pretty consistent over his career, especially catching the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah, well, when you bring in a guy like Melvin Gordon, you bring him in for his ability to run screens. He has a real good feel for screens, and the Broncos have struggled offensively on 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1 situations with Philip Lindsay. So you're bringing him in for his ability to catch the ball out the backfield, him to run screens, and him just to be tough in between the tackles. I think this is the game where Melvin Gordon actually breaks out, because I think the Broncos are going to make up their mind and say, we're going to give this guy 25 carries in a game. And I played with Melvin. Melvin was actually drafted one year when I was with the Chargers. And Melvin's a guy that really needs to get a good feel for the game. He needs to constantly be involved in the passing game and in the running game for him to have a successful day. And with Royce Freeman, nothing against Roy Freeman, love him as a person, but he was a 3rd-round draft pick. They got sit on the bench for Philip Lindsay, who was undrafted. And then obviously the Broncos at one time during this offseason made Melvin Gordon the 6th highest paid running back in that National Football League. So there was a reason why Royce Freeman continues to get turned up. It's still going to be a nice 1-2 punch when Melvin does need a breather, with Royce's ability to pick up the blitzes and also his ability to catch the ball out the backfield. But I think Melvin Gordon gets at least 20 to 25 carries this week.
Yeah, I like Melvin Gordon a lot, but he is going against the 4th-rated rush defense this season and last season's number 1. I think it may be hard for him to find ground yards. But as you said, he's one of those guys that you need to feed the rock and get him going, and that really, helps motivate him and energize him to be productive. Anything else? Anything else you think about the Buccaneers team or this Broncos team going forward? And if anyone has any questions for Orlando Franklin, he's a wealth of knowledge. Former NFL player, started 89 games in his career. I know we're all over here after that first week 1 game losing our mind about Donovan Smith. I got another question. Preseason, having no preseason games, we expected some sloppy play, but the injuries have been really bad throughout the league. You see players dropping like flies and some sloppy play. Do you think that a lack of preseason or at least intra-squad scrimmages have had something to do with that, or do you think it's just freak occurrences?
I think it's the off-season, Josh, to be honest with you. It's not only preseason. Preseason is nice in the aspect that you get to wrap it up. You get to get after it. Yeah. Those are 4 opportunities that you get in its full speed live. It's tackling. But as an NFL football player, there's never really an off season where this year guys could have got laxed. They could have really just chilled during the off season, and now they're paying for it. When you look at just the course of a season, people just say, oh, you only play 4 months out the year. That's not the case, because come January, after you're playing, you really just off. And then come back in the weight room. Come March, now you're running, you're back in the weight room, and you're running on the field. Come April, you're getting back with your team, and you're starting your OTAs, your off-season program.
Yeah.
And it's always a ramp-up period, where you're only really taking 1 month off. This year was because of COVID, right? So if guys don't going back in April, more and kept on going on, and you never knew when you were going to go back. Ultimately, OTAs got scrapped, and then when you did get the training camp, it was a ramp-up period in training camp that you really couldn't really start tackling or hitting guys or having full scrimmages until about 2.5 weeks until the season started. So it's almost like your body needs to continue to tighten itself up because it's used to getting hit all the time, that now with this offseason, everybody's body just loosened out and let it hang type of thing, where you didn't know when you were going to go back to football, and now you're seeing a lot of injuries because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially those soft tissue injuries and some of the tears of the ACLs, the Achilles. It seems like, those always happen. But it seems like it happens to some of these superstars in the league, and that's obviously something that the league definitely doesn't want. I don't know how to avoid that going forward with these players. That ramp up period, like you spoke on, in the preseason or lack thereof, the preseason games. Definitely has made a significant impact on these teams. Orlando, I want to thank you for coming on, breaking down the team and everything like that. If you want to go ahead and promote your show, promote anything you're out to doing, where people can find you on socials, please go ahead. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Josh. I appreciate it. Out here, I do a weekly show, a weekday show, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to noon with Sandy Clough. It's kind of weird because I'm 32 years old. I just retired from the NFL 2 years ago. Sandy's like double my age, but we get along. Some hockey background growing up in Canada. And yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, Franklin74 on both of those social media platforms. And like I said, Josh, thanks a lot for having me. It's definitely fun. I visited Tampa coming out, and played a lot up in that area. Going to the university, I went to the University of Miami, so played against USF and going up there a couple times a year, or passing through there on our way to play against Florida State each and every year. So beautiful city. I've been trying to get my wife to commit to moving to Clearwater. So we'll see how that works out. But you got a beautiful city down there. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I got one quick question that just came in real quick. Do you think the lack of this ramp up time, and obviously with a new team like Tom Brady coming down with the chemistry and everything, do you think that's going to have a lingering effect throughout the season with these teams around the league? Because you talk about new coaches coming in, new quarterbacks, and without that ramp up time, do you think it has a lingering effect, or do you think these things get corrected quick sooner rather than later?
Yeah, I think that's why Tom Brady has not been successful. That's why we saw Drew Brees lose the other night to the Oakland Raiders. When you're not allowed to get your teams together, you're not allowed to run full speed live drills.
Exactly.
And just that camaraderie, I don't know how Tom is, but I know how Peyton was. And I played with in 2000, rookie year before. It was day. I went like 12 each period, and the ones would get four reps. This get up. All of a sudden, the ones are taking 6, and then the twos are taking 4, and the threes are taking 2. So we just over repped everything as a team, because the more reps you get, the better off you're going to be as a team. But that's just training camp. These guys would meet and have passing camps. These guys would meet all throughout the offseason, where right after OTs, they would get together, and right before training camp, they would get together. But you also miss that 9 weeks that you're in the classroom, you're constantly talking football, and you're also on the field and with each other. I think quarterback's the hardest position to play. You got to understand the speed, the temperament, and the catch radius of all your weapons. And when you don't have an off season, it really hurts you because of that. Where now Tom's throwing to Chris Goodwin, a new wide receiver that he's never been with. Mike Evans, new wide receiver that he's never been with. These guys, it takes a while to understand their catch radius, their speed, their ability, and what these guys could do. So I think that's why we're seeing some big name quarterbacks struggle in some games right now, are being lost, where you're like, man, I thought that quarterback or that guy would play a lot better. It's a lot of it's because of the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of these guys who are expected to have, especially if you're a fantasy player, nothing more, and you're looking at these guys and saying, Deshaun Watson, I drafted him in the 4th round, and he's put up 16. Well, that's probably part of the reason why.
A whole new wide receiver corps, right? I mean, when you take away Hopkins, you got a whole new wide receiver corps. When you look at Tom Brady coming down there, the same exact thing. All of a sudden, Michael Thomas is not able to go for the Saints on Monday night. And that's a whole new wide receiver corps. A couple new guys, a couple new faces for Drew Brees. So you're going to see some guys struggle because of it.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Again, I want to thank you, everyone. Orlando Franklin from 104.3 The Fan in Denver, former starting right tackle for the Broncos and Chargers. Thank you for your time. If you ever want to come back on here or whatever like that, need anything from me, let me know. I'll be happy to do it for you. Thanks a lot, man. You too. There you go. Orlando Franklin behind enemy lines. When you get a guy who's played in the league to break down their team, I think that's great. A great interview. We're going to take 2 seconds real quick to go out to our sponsors, and then we'll be right back.
Power bill through the roof? At 320 Solar, that power bill will be no more. In fact, about 90% of our customers report lower solar payments than with electricity. That's more power in your pocket. 320 Solar. Power up.
Again, guys, 320solar.com. Make sure you check them out. Say goodbye to your electric bill. Zero out of pocket till 2022. 320solar.com. Not only that, they have if you call them out for an estimate, they've got a special promo going on as well. Make sure you check them out. Give them a call. Check out the website. Go green. You're saving yourself money and you're helping the environment. So check them out. I'll have them out here soon myself. So we're going to jump into halftime. Not a big halftime because there's not a lot going on now with the current climate and situation. Things aren't changing, except there's been a lot of injuries. The injuries have started to pile up really bad. You have guys like Saquon Barkley out for the year, Cortland Sutton out for the year, Jimmy Garoppolo is injured, Drew Lock is injured, Christian McCaffrey just went on short-term IR. D Ford will not play this week for the San Francisco 49ers, in addition to Nick Bosa, in addition to Solomon Thomas. Bruce Irvin is out for the year with an ACL. Richie Incognito just got placed on short-term disability. Devontae Adams, who's not been placed but is very questionable for the game this week. Sterling Shepard just got put on IR. The injuries are starting to pile up. Dave Montgomery left the game the other day. It's a tough time for football, and as we discussed with Orlando Franklin, if you were here, it's because of the shortened offseason, the 2020 offseason. With the whole COVID, they didn't have a long ramp-up time. They reported they did some cardio for a week, they did some walkthroughs for a week, and then they were hitting for 2 weeks, and then boom, here was the season. That stuff's going to happen. It's going to be very difficult for these players to stay healthy. Obviously, we want everyone to stay healthy, no matter who they play for, if they're on the Saints, if they're on the Falcons or the Panthers, because we want the best package we can get, right? I mean, that's what I want. I never wish harm or injury on anybody because I want the best football I can get. I want the best players in the world playing all the time. And unfortunately, we're losing some of them. And if you're a fantasy person, a lot of it's been on offense, or San Francisco defense was highly drafted in a lot of leagues, and that is looking at shambles right now. You got Bosa out, Ford out, Solomon Thomas out. I mean, that's tough right now. If you're a fantasy player and owner of some of these guys, I know people are out there, digging at the bottom of the barrel for running backs, overvaluing players they have when they have no running backs. talking to some of you in my Bucks Report fantasy group. You have a backup quarterback. Give him away. But speaking of backup quarterbacks, there's some controversy that happened with the San Diego Chargers. Obviously, we saw Justin Herbert start that game last week. It looks like he's going to start again. Apparently, when a doctor was giving Tyrod Taylor pain medication into his rib, they missed and punctured his lung. So that happened. So Justin Herbert will be making another start. I think if he performs like he did last week, obviously they didn't win the game, but they were playing against the Kansas City Chiefs and kept it really close. If they won that game, I don't think Herbert gives it up. If they go out this week and he has another 300-plus yard passing game and they win that game, I don't see Tyrod Taylor coming back. I think they'll stick with Justin Herbert. They drafted him that early for a reason. I like the kid. He was zinging around the ball. He's got great accuracy, great arm strength. I wish he'd pass it to Mike Thomas a little bit. I mean, Mike Williams a little bit more, but what can you do? Emergency start situation. But yeah, so those are some things that, you got to look out for around this league. Blake Bortles just signed with the Broncos. I forgot to ask Orlando about that, how he felt about that. But Blake Bortles is signing with the Broncos, and the 49ers signed Ziggy Ansah. So with that, make sure you guys check out Melectronic, because that's what Halftime is brought to you by. Headphones and speakers, use code BucksReport at www.shopsoundsperfect.com to receive 40% off your order. Sounds perfect. Guys, again, little hat trick right here is like $40. The headphones are like $80. They have other headphones that are like $40. Christmas is right around the corner. You're gonna need stocking stuffers for your kids, things like that. Bucks Report gives you places and stuff that gives you discounts on all sorts of things. So, this will fit right inside a stocking. The headphones fold up. Here, I'll even show you. Fold up nice and perfectly, nice and tight. That can go in a stocking. We have other stuff coming out. I'll have another thing that I'll be introducing shortly here. That you can get. It's creative and custom. You can do your own. Check out Melectronic.com, shopsoundsperfect.com. So make sure you guys check that out. Let's read some comments real quick. We'll go to this top. Taylor Allen, my lovely wife, says, whoop, whoop. Yep, that's right. It's Audible time, powered by 320 Solar. Josh the man, bring the info. I'll bring the info. You guys bring the passion. I'll take a little bit of nonsense. I don't mind no nonsense, but I'll take some malfeasance. Crystal Cole, hey, what's up, Josh? What's going on, my man? How are you? I said that Winfield is a young Jamal Adams. The guy's all over the place. He's everywhere. I think he's going to be an amazing player in this league. I called it Defensive Rookie of the Year. I stick by that. I think he's going to be just that dude. He's going to fly all around over the place. As I mentioned earlier, BA is a no BS coach. He's going to tell you like it is. He's not going to sugarcoat things. And we learned that week one when he criticized Tom Brady. Now he's criticizing Gronk. Whether this is a tactic to get them motivated or not, it doesn't seem like that. It just seems like who he is who he is. But if it does motivate them, that's an added plus. Gronk needs to work a little bit harder to get open while he's out there. Tom's going to find him. Tom's going to throw him the ball if he's open. Tom's going to throw whoever the ball is open. And he's best buddies with Gronk. So he would like to get him the ball, but you got to get open. You got to fight through coverage and consistently be open. He's being paid $9 million as a blocker right now. That's not going to fly for this team in the long term, and for him trying to get another job if he decides to move on. Don't think Denver is going to be easy. Driscoll threw for 250 and 2 touchdowns. TDs in a down-to-the-minute game with the Steelers last week. Exactly. The Steelers defense looks pretty good. I'm not jumping all over them. I think Denver is going to be in this game a little bit where I'm kind of out as their defense. That secondary is going to have a very, very hard time. And I'm not sure that offense can keep up with this Buccaneers team. You got both of your guys look to be healthy, Evans and Godwin, for the first time. You have your tight ends healthy. We saw what Leonard Fournette can do. I think that it's going to be I don't want to say blowout because of Tom Brady's history, and someone commented that, and we'll get to what that is in Denver, but I think it's going to be a high-scoring game for this Buccaneers offense. I think that they've heard enough BS from BA, and they want to go out there and just do it. Not that they're mad or upset or anything, but I think they want to go out there and show him and the league that, hey, we got both of our guys back. They're back strong. Let's go. Let's go. Eugene Thomas, my man Gene, Buck, what you heard. What's up, Josh Clun? I heard Eugene might be getting a spot somewhere on Bucks Report. He's already part of the family, but stay tuned for maybe a possible announcement. Little teaser right there for you. Johnny Dean, LVD is a beast. He is a beast. Guys, I said it. If you're just joining here, I said it in the kickoff. He was rated 90 on Sunday, the highest defensive player. And then not only was he rated the highest defensive player on Sunday, his 91.6 was third best in coverage on Sunday. In coverage as a linebacker, a middle linebacker at that. and that's going against cornerbacks and safeties. Levante David is an animal, and he's getting the recognition he's deserving. The only problem with how good Levante David's been playing is how lights out Devin White's been playing. Devin White has been stealing some of the attention, and I think, unfortunately, Levante David is going to get overlooked from the play from his own teammate, Devin White. I mean, he leads the leagues in tackles. He's left to right. Everyone's talking about him right now. I think Levante David won't get his notice as much with Devin White next to him. And it's a shame because this was supposed to be his time to shine. And he is a beast, and he is getting some looks at him. But I really think that Devin White's going to steal the show on Levante David in a year that he was supposed to be the guy to get the attention. Devin White's just coming and playing with his hair on fire, and he looks amazing. Gronk has not been a ghost if you watch what he is doing on the line. You're right, Johnny Dean. I mean, I meant in a passing game. Gronk, he's been very, very beneficial as a blocker on this team. But in the passing game, he's been kind of an aberration, not aberration. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. It kind of sounds like that, but it's not. He hasn't been there. He hasn't been able to fight through, safeties and linebackers and get open and be the Gronk that people remembered him would be, because if he was, then he'd be getting the ball all the time, regardless of who else is out there on the sides. Gronk get open, Gronk get ball, Gronk score touchdown, Gronk spike. That's what he does. And he hasn't looked like that. As a blocker, he's looked great. Week 1, he was a little shaky. Yesterday or Sunday, he looked really great. I'll be at the game. They better win. LOL, go Bucks. Yaj, you'll be at the game out in Denver? How much did you pay for those tickets, my man? Whew. I saw the price tag was around like $600 a piece for a ticket. Ouch. It's going to hurt your wallet. Blake Anthony, tell it like it is, Josh. I always tell it like it is, Blake. You're my dude. Check out Sports Talk 49 on Mondays and Fridays at 3:30. 3 o'clock, 3:30. I'm not sure of the time. It's one of those. Just tune in at 3, and if it's not there, wait till 3:30. Or set a notification on Bucks Report for whenever someone goes live. Even better. That's even better. Why just do that? Eugene Thomas says he will get his time. We are just 2 games in. I agree. I think Gronk will get out there, and he'll do it. For me, though, I thought that Gronk and Brady, and I said this before the season, and I thought they'd have instant chemistry. He'd be out there and be, doing his thing the first couple weeks, and then they kind of dial it back once everyone else gets on the same page. But maybe it's going to be opposites, kind of save him for the end of the year. But I don't know what's going on over there. Hopefully he turns around. I think he will. I think everyone will be involved. But this is exactly what we talked about. And Eugene, you talked about it as well. There's so many mouths to feed. There's so many places to go with the ball. It's hard to really figure out what's going to happen. I mean, in the running game alone, you got Ronald Jones starting, Shady on third down, and Leonard Fournette the closer. Is that going to work for everybody? How long until, Ronald Jones doesn't get back in and he wants to come back in? So it's going to be interesting to really see how that demographic plays out. We'll have to watch it going forward. Blake Anthony, call an audible. Call that audible. You're on the audible with Josh Guan, powered by 320 Solar, 320solar.com. Check them out. Front will be involved later. End zone Gronk. Gronk will be involved later. End zone target for TB12. I definitely think so. He's going to be a big part. They haven't really spent a lot of time, in that red zone area where they can use them. They've been making plays. What are the power rankings actually used for? As Johnny Dean said right there, pretty much betting lines. Thanks, he says. Gronk, I knew what you meant, my man. 4-7 Denver for Brady. That's right, including the AFC Championship game that sent the Broncos up against the Seattle Seahawks when the Seahawks won that game. only for the Broncos to come back and win the Super Bowl against the Panthers, led by, surprisingly, Cam Newton, who's now the quarterback for the Patriots. Good stuff, Big O. Great interview. Yeah, I mean, Orlando Franklin was amazing. And here's my girl right here, the Deck Bar and Grill. Make sure you check them out. The Deck Bar and Grill at Isla del Sol. Great games, drink specials, food specials. Make sure you get out there on game days for our pregame, halftime, and postgame shows. Giveaways, you can enter for your chance to win a free, yes, that's right, free Chevy Silverado truck at the end of the season. Make sure you check that out and visit there to find out how you can win. How do you feel about that turf up in New Jersey? Not sure what you meant right there, that turf up in New Jersey. But I'll get to my buddy who knows what I'm talking about. Herbert looked good for the Chargers. And on another subject, Stamkos is in the lineup tonight for the Lightning. You know what? Go Tell Stars. And with that note, let's bring in my man, Rick Hughes from the Cheap Seats Live. So what's up the turf in New Jersey? Tell me about that. You know
who is it that played there last week and is also going back again this week? They were complaining about the turf. San Francisco was complaining about the turf, saying that that's why their players were getting hurt, and then they have to come back and go back again this week.
Yeah, that makes sense. They lost a lot of players. I mean, D Ford's not going to play.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nick Bosa's out. Solomon Thomas, Jimmy Garoppolo. They're still out. George Kittle. It's going to be interesting to see how that progresses through the week, and if they're made to change it or if they postpone the game. Or I mean, it's already Wednesday here, so if they're going to make them lay new sod, they're going to have to get on that, or whether they move. Because it's not like there's fans in the stands for New Jersey. They could change it to a different location, a college location that has a better field. So that's going to be something to monitor during the week. But I kind of talked earlier. Again, we'll have Quentin Bell on soon. We're here live with Rick Hughes, live from the Cheap Seats. I talked about Donovan Smith and how he played this last Sunday. And I saw a bounce back from him, even with the knee injury and even, re-aggravating and coming back in. He looked a lot better in pass pro and in run protection than he did in week one. Do you think that progression continues? Because I'm on that train. I think he continues to get better, but I know some people still want to get rid of him.
Well, it wasn't going to get worse. I mean, let's be honest. That first week was terrible. Did he get better? Yeah, he got better. I mean, especially in the first half, he got better. Second half, he wasn't so good. But yeah, he was better. Do I think he'll get better? It's hard not to. It's not like he graded out and had this great game or something like that. I mean, he is what he is.
Yeah. Stop
expecting him to be, a great, it's just, he's not going to be a great lineman. It's not what he is. I mean, he is exactly what he is. They are who we said they were.
They are who we let him off the hook.
Yeah, that's listen, man. You're not looking at Pro Bowl quality, okay? So don't get disappointed when he plays bad. He's bad, okay? I mean, it's year after year after year. He's inconsistent. He has a good game, then he has a bad game, or has an okay game. He never has a great game.
Yeah,
but I mean, he is what he is.
Yeah, I agree. I think he will get a little bit better. I think that he just needs he loses focus sometimes. I think that he'll as his line progresses and moves forward, and as his team gets their chemistry down, and Tom Brady is able to get the ball out just a little bit quicker because his receivers are on the same page. I think he won't have to hold his blocks as long, and he'll progress as well.
You're saying they'll mask his issues, is what?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that he'll get better.
Well,
they'll make him look better by covering for the problems that are there, and that's what we're talking about. I mean, let's be honest. That is what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, well, switching up over there, and it's a great segue to my next guest. This defense has looked really, really good throughout these first 2 weeks. 11th total in the league, tied for 16th in scoring, 4th in run, 21st in pass, and a lot of those, like I mentioned earlier, we're only 2 weeks, so the sample size is small, so some of those numbers can seem a little bit inflated, but it looks like they're right back at it with run defense, and they looked great in other scenarios as well. What are your thoughts on this defense?
Well, I mean, they look great in run defense, and they're also keeping these guys from having any great passing yards. You go up against some great receivers, and nothing. You say nothing out of them like week one. I mean, this defense is the real deal. Everybody all offseason was talking about Brady coming in the offense, but this defense is this defense can carry the team, which is that's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. I think the speed and the size they have all over the ball, not only on the defense, on special teams as well, is starting to show up after that, kind of week one blunder that they had. I think that it's starting to look really, really, really good. And I think that the longer that they play together, the more chemistry to develop and the better it will be. But
the whole team itself looks like it gets better by every week. I mean, I'm guessing you'll see improvement all across the board every week.
Absolutely. With that, Rick, I'm going to throw you in the lobby because we have our guest on here. We'll come back out to you in a little bit if you can hang around.
I will give it my shot.
Let me throw you back in the lobby.
Throw you back to the lobby.
Throw you back to the lobby, yeah. So our next guest is, without a doubt, one of the best upcoming players for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. He's got the speed, he's got the size, 4.43 speed, track star. And it's brought to you by Auction of Champions. They're a sports memorabilia auction site with weekly auctions of autographed memorabilia and cards with no reserves. Check them out on their website, auctionofchampions.com, and on Facebook and Instagram. Mention Bucks Report in the How You Heard About Us section to receive $5 off your first order. Guys, I just ordered 4 Shaq Barrett jerseys for the Deck Watch Party. I spent $40 a piece on them. They're all autographed, so make sure you check those out. Maybe we can get some stuff from this guy right here to give away at our parties. Quentin Bell, number 57 in the playbook, number 1 in your hearts, friend of the Audible, good friend of mine. I'd like to bring him on. Quentin, how you doing, my man?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I see you balling out there. I mean, you're showing up. You're a photogenic guy. You're everywhere. You're on the sidelines of the pictures. You're in the locker room in the pictures. I try to send as much as I can that I see to you. But how's it going, man? Great. Must be a great feeling. You made the team right off the get. I know that's something that you really worked hard for. We've had you on the show. What was that like, not getting that call?
Oh, man, honestly, man, it was unreal. Just like you said, we talked in the off season, especially how crazy this off season was. But I put in a lot of work, man. I put in a lot of work during the quarantine and just did everything I can to make sure when I came into camp, my body was right and ready to go. And obviously camp started, and I really went hard, man. I went hard every day. I showed up ready to practice, ready to play every day. Handled every practice as if it was game day. That's kind of what we had to do, with the no preseason and everything like that, man. And I'm really blessed, man. I'm blessed, man. It was just a really emotional day, when I found out that I made the roster. And it was great. I had a moment with my family when I told them everything. But then obviously, it's right back to work. I feel like I had to go 100 times harder. You know what I'm saying? That was the first step to get to where I want to be. And now I'm here. And now it's time to even, go even harder. So it was great, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you made it there. Now you got to, show them why you made it there, and
right.
and show them, that this is where you belong, because it is, man. You're a freak athlete. I can tell you that much. I saw you were halfway down the field on a punt the other day. You were the first guy there. Just right down there, scaring him up, making sure he's trying to drop that. I saw that play. I'm like, that's my dude over there.
Yeah.
How's it been? I mean, obviously, you're making your mark on special teams. What's that been like for you?
Oh, man, it's been amazing, man. Just being on the field, what I'm saying, whether it was on special teams or defense, man, it just feels good to play, what I'm saying, and be playing in the regular season. And so I'm just grateful, man. But special teams is great, man. Obviously, this is a great way for me to, be here and remain on the team, what I'm saying, and be able to show my athleticism every chance I get. What I'm saying? I love the special teams coach, and I'm really just enjoying just getting better with every team, what I'm saying, with all 4 phases, what I'm saying. And so I'm really glad that, I'm able to contribute, what I'm saying, to the team in this way. I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job, but also there's just always so much room to improve. And I'm making sure that every day I'm getting better with everything, just not just defense, but on all 4 phases of special teams that I'm on, I'm getting better. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that can just only help to show them your speed and your athleticism, what you can do on that side and what you can contribute to on the defensive side of the ball, which, hopefully you'll be getting, some significant snaps there and rotations and stuff like that, because I've seen what you can do. It's very hard to block someone that's got that speed. I know you've been working all offseason on different moves and stuff like that. How much have you still been, taking in and absorbing from guys like JPP and Shaq and Anthony, and just kind of picking their brain to improve your game and get those opportunities for yourself?
Oh man, I'm absorbing every single day, literally, man. Even days when we don't practice, I'm asking questions. I'm watching film. I mean, I got two dudes who are established, greats. I have a great history in this league. Now, obviously, Nelson, who was a rookie last year, but even he has so much to teach me, man. It's just I'm absorbing as much information as I can. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just grateful to just have a room like that. You know what I'm saying? But not a lot of guys are grateful to have a room like that with just a lot of just great vets and, you know what I'm saying, and a great coach. And I'm just taking it as much as I can, man, and making sure that every single day in practice, I'm continuing to show my value on the defensive side of the ball. You know what I'm saying? And continue to work my moves and get better. So, like you said, when my snaps do come, I'm ready. I'll be ready to show something.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what it's all about is, learning and getting better every single day. It's it's what you have to do, especially to stay in this league. And, obviously that first week was a learning experience for this team. We all knew, well, actually nobody really knew what it was going to be like going into a stadium without fans, going up against a different team. I mean, you guys have been hitting each other for so long. That going up against a different opponent where they're not necessarily going to take it easy on you. They're coming at you. What was that like, finally going up against somebody else? Obviously not the outcome you wanted, but just getting out there that first week and getting the rust off and everything.
Right, man. I mean, that was the main thing. We finally got to hit somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And that's what was just so great about it. Obviously the atmosphere was completely different. Me personally, I had never played there before, but from what the guys were telling me, that like, man, if fans were here, it would be crazy in here, And so having no fans was different. It was a lot quieter. You could hear a lot of checks and calls on the field, and there was no issues with that. But yeah, it was just a great opportunity to hit somebody else, man. Obviously, we didn't get the outcome that we wanted to, but it's all part of the process. You know what I'm saying? You learn so much from the games you play, wins or losses. We got this win here last week against Carolina. There's so much that we're learning from that win. You know what I'm saying? So obviously it was a learning experience, and we took that hit. We bounced back the next week, and I just think that one thing I like about this team is that we really do learn from everything that we do. Whether it's practice, whether it's a game, win or lose, we take everything in, we watch the film, we get the corrections in, and we go back to work. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys came back and you had that performance against Carolina. The defense looked great. The offense looked great. Special teams looked great. It was a great multifaceted game for all of you. What was it like to get that victory out there after the loss? And I'm sure you guys worked even harder week 2, and then kind of knowing what to expect, now that you were hitting other people, because I'm sure in training camp, you guys get used to each other and kind of pick up each other's moves, and everyone's trying to look good in training camp and impress the coaches. So it becomes second nature to be like, okay, this guy does this guy does that. Being able to have that first week and then bring it into a second week to really go up against another team. Obviously, you came out with a W. How was that a different process than week 1?
Right. Yeah, I think obviously, if there was any rust, it was definitely gone by week 1. And like you said, man, just cracking heads with the same dudes every day that are on your same team, it gets old. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, like he knows what I'm gonna do. I know what he's gonna do, and we've been doing it for a month straight. You know what I'm saying? So, but obviously, going into week 2, we had all the kinks, worked out, and I think that, like you said, it's just the first game was a really good way to see where we're at and see what we need to work on and see, what we weren't getting from going against each other, for a month straight. So I think we just took it into week 2 and we're just like, yeah, man, we're back in game mode. We're back, you know what I'm saying? We're back here. We're not hitting each other, tackling each other all day anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it was great, man. I think that we definitely had a great week of practice and we just came out ready to play. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can really say. We were ready to go, and we had to protect the home field. That's what we did.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys did that. We had the cannons firing all game long. People stepping up all over the field. Going into this week, it's another road game. This time in Denver, the altitude. The quarterback has struggled there. Shaq Barrett is from there. It's where he played before. What have you kind of heard from the guys around the locker room to expect? If you played in Denver in the altitude, what have you been told to expect from that over there? And it looks like they're going to have fans in the stands. They've had a lot of injuries, though. I'm sure you're watching tape and you see, the guys like Sutton now, the quarterback, Von Miller is out. How have you been preparing for this matchup this week?
I think the big message that BA is kind of relayed to us and that we're relating to each other is we don't care about the injuries. We don't care about those. We're playing every game, preparing for every team the same way. We prepared for the Saints, and we prepared for Carolina, and now we're preparing for Denver. You know what I'm saying? He made it clear, that we're not going to slow down or get comfortable or act like we've arrived just because we got one win. You know what I'm saying? The win was good. Yeah. And now it's over, on to this team. And no matter who they bring out there, whether it was their starters or backups, whoever, man, we're going to prepare for them like we're playing against the best team in the league. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we're preparing this week. Obviously, yeah, I've never actually played in Denver, but obviously I've heard of the altitude and, things of that nature, man. So it's going to be a first-time experience for me. But like I said, I think we're preparing for it the right way. And, you know what I'm saying, when we're going into it as if, it's a playoff championship game. That's how we had to play every game. So,
yeah, absolutely. One game at a time, 1 week at a time. Only control what you can control, and go out there and just do your job and do the best you can.
Exactly.
And the plays will come. If you're just joining me, this is the Audible powered up by 320 Solar, 320solar.com. I'm here joined with Tampa Bay Buccaneers outside linebacker Quentin Bell. If you guys have any questions for him, leave them in the comment. I actually have a question right here from my wife. She says, do you feel like going into week 3, the chemistry is there for this team? Obviously, it's been tough to get to know each other with the offseason, and we've seen the rash of injuries, and we've seen the lack of, as we've spoken, this whole time, offseason. Do you think the chemistry gets stronger now that you're going into this 3rd week?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we've been stacking days since camp started. Since camp started, man, we're stacking days, and obviously every week, whether we had a preseason or not, every single week where you play, play an opponent in the regular season, the chemistry is going to build. You know what I'm saying? So, like BA says, we're stacking days, we're stacking weeks, and we're going to continue to go this way. You know what I'm saying? To go up and to keep growing as a team, offensively, defensively, special teams wise, and it's only going to get better from here. We're only going up from here.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the best way to put it. I mean, you guys have been, as you said, stacking days, and the chemistry will be there. Things will come. It's just, taking it day by day, and that's the best way. I've seen you, you've been out there, flashing your Warzone numbers out there, your kill streaks. What else you playing? What's your highest kill streak? What do you got going on in your downtime? I know you don't got much of it because you're headed in the playbook. And in the game plan, but what have you been doing to kind of relax and stay, even keeled?
Right. I mean, obviously it's slowed down now. We're in season, man. It's really time to lock in. But obviously, I'm still playing Warzone a little bit. NBA 2K21 just dropped. I think like 2 weeks ago, maybe something like that. So I've been playing that a lot. When I have a couple hours, man. Just trying to, obviously, stay locked in. But you got to give yourself a little time, here and there. So I've been on that a little bit too.
Absolutely. We got the NBA Finals on. I don't know if you're a hockey fan, but Tampa Bay's in the Stanley Cup Final. They're on right now. Celtics Miami coming up, at 9:00. And then I don't know about you. I'm rooting for the Boston Lakers. I know you're from LA, so I'm sure you're rooting for LA.
I've been a Laker fan my whole life, man.
I know you got that LeBron, that Laker gold and purple, going all the way. But who do you want to see them play? Do you want to see them play the Celtics and have that Lakers-Celtics rivalry, or do you want to see him go out there and beat his former team in the Heat?
Oh man, I think it would be really cool, obviously, to see LeBron play the Heat again. You know what I'm saying? Because that would just be, what it's supposed to be. But I think either way, it's a great story. It's Lakers Celtics or it's LeBron versus the Heat. You know what I'm saying? I think either way, it's a great story. I just want to make sure the Lakers in the finals. That's my main concern right now.
Yeah.
And
that Nuggets team is scary.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? We'll take care of that when it's time, but then you get to the finals first.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Nuggets, I was shocked when they knocked off the Clips.
Everybody was, yeah.
what's going on here. But again, Quentin, I want to thank you, man. I want to thank you for not only coming on here, but the man you are, on and off the field. You've been doing, your thing, and I've been watching, obviously, with a close eye. I'm proud of you. I'm excited for you. Keep going, keep grinding, keep killing it. Do you want to, promote yourself, your socials, anything else you got going on?
Oh man, I mean, no, I really appreciate it, man. You've been following me since since before, man. I really appreciate the support, man. I appreciate all the love. I really do, man. It means a lot. But yeah, man, look, you follow all my socials at Quentin J Bell, just how it's spelled right here. And just stay tuned, man. It's only week 3. We got a long season to go, but it's gonna be great things to see. Promise you that.
All right, thank you guys, everybody. Tampa Bay linebacker Quentin Bell. Look for him every week on Sunday on your screens. The guy's going to be there because he's a camera hog. He's always on the camera somewhere. You'll see 5'7" out there somewhere. But again, thanks a lot, man, for coming out, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Have a good one. There you guys go. You guys want content? I bring you former offensive lineman for the Broncos, breaking down his former team, the Broncos. I bring you Tampa Bay Buccaneers players. Quentin J Bell, right here in the comment. Follow him on Twitter, Instagram. Guy's great, down to earth. Play Warzone with you or whatnot. But I want to thank him. I want to thank you guys for obviously coming out. We're gonna go back to some of the comments, guys. You have comments. I know the Lightning game is on, and I'll be here Friday with some sort of Lightning shirt or jersey. For those of you who are watching, I'll have some sort of Lightning jersey or shirt on to complete my part of the bet. We'll figure it out as we go. But for you guys, those of you who are tuning in, on your phone while you're watching this Lightning game, go Stars. First of all, I want to say that. But thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. We're going to go out to our last sponsor, who is the lovely, lovely Taylor Allen, my wife. Taylor Allen, check her out on Facebook if you're trying to lose weight, look and feel better, or just need more energy. She's selling pure therapeutic ketones by Prove It. They help you burn fat, get rid of brain fog, help you sleep better, and most importantly, give you the energy you need. I was feeling tired this morning. I grabbed one. I'm not on the keto diet, and I don't drink them regularly, but I grabbed one, and I was zipping around. So definitely check out the ketones if you just want more energy, better sleep, or if you're on the keto diet or any low-carb diet, they pair with that perfectly. Text her at 813-557-3780. Again, on the bottom right there, make sure you screenshot it. We're going to keep up 320 Solar, but we will pop up her beautiful picture real quick so you guys can see how lucky I am right there. There she is. Boom. Boom. All right, don't drool. 320solar.com. 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 Check them out because you know what? Saving money on your electric bill. Not zero out of pocket until 2022. Make sure you check them out. Call them up. See if you guys can get a estimate. They'll come out there. I believe they have a promotion going on that they'll pay your electric bill for 3 months if you have them come out there for an estimate. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. Check them out though at 320solar.com. Let's go back to this. Some of these comments. Just want to also shout out everybody else here on Bucks Report for doing their thing. Obviously, we have Peter Blake, the man, the myth, the legend, with the Sports Web Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to midnight. Guy goes 9 to midnight, 9 hours a week, not counting the pregame, postgame, halftime show that he brings you guys. Check him out every Monday and Friday. Blake Anthony doing his thing on Sports Talk 49, 3 o'clock. Check it out. Nick Citro, I believe Monday at 12:30, 1:30, whenever he decides to go on Twitter. Stay tuned. Turn your notifications on for Bucks Report when they go live. You'll find him as Ask Him Anything. He'll break down some game talk. He's our resident IT guy. He knows what he's got. He's got the All 22. He knows what he's talking about. Check him out. Al Keck Show every Tuesday, 9 to 10. We have him going on. We have Live with Rick Hughes from the Cheap Seats on Sundays from 9 to whenever he decides to go, 10, 11, midnight, who knows? You never know, Rick. He's a wild card. That's what I love about him. We got other shows coming on. I think maybe, I was talking about a little teaser. Eugene might be having a show coming on. If you know who he is, what he does, I think Rick might be cooking up something. I have Friday Night Fantasy every Friday. Make sure you tune into that. We'll break down all the daily fantasy, season-long fantasy, betting, who to pick up off the waiver wire, who to put the bets on. Definitely check them out because, we've got a lot of content. We've got articles coming up all the time. Stats of the day on Twitter. Follow me at Twitter at Joshua__Allen because I put out stuff all the time too. But let's go back out of these comments. Speaking of my lovely wife, Taylor Allen. Hey, Rick. He's gone, so he can't say hi back to you. But Yaj said they are not beating the Heat. Yaj, they're beating the Heat. I'm telling you right now. They're going to beat them tonight, tied up 2-2. They're going to be fresh. Gordon Hayward's back. They're going to go. Lakers going to lose the series. I don't know. I think they got it in them because the league does not want to see a Nuggets Heat. Nobody wants to see Nuggets Heat. Everyone wants to see either Lakers Heat or Lakers Celtics, and nobody wants to see that. Quentin J. Bell, again, check him out on his socials, Twitter or Instagram. Alex Fleming with that JCA. Appreciate the love, man. Hope all is well with you. And Taylor, go green. Yes, go Celtics. Beat the Heat. With that, I think I'm going to cut it short, guys. I don't have a lot much more to talk about unless you guys want to talk. It's a slow night because the finals are on. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I forgot to announce last week's winner. The winner of the final prize giveaway. Hold on, let me pull it up. So the final prize pack was the see-through stadium bag, was the sunglasses, a koozie, a couple Buccaneers pins, a bracelet, a sticker for your car, and obviously it comes with, the Audible bottle opener. But also this one came with a Levante David signed card. Let me see if I can get it without the glare. Signed card from his bowling charity promotion. Just a little something. Thanks, guys, for everyone who's been liking and sharing and retweeting and everything like that. I appreciate it. So last week's winner was Ronald Clark. Ronald Clark, thanks a lot. I appreciate the shares. You shared it on Facebook. Actually, you know what? We're not going to cut it short. We've got about 9 minutes. We got Rick Hughes live from the cheap seats in the lobby. Let's bring him on. Let him get all set up now that I introduced him. There he is.
That's
my man. What's going on, man? You check out that interview with Quentin Bell?
Yeah, how about that? Very nice.
Good stuff in there, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how this team comes together. It looks like they're all on the same page. They're all just, working for that goal one game at a time. You hear it from the players and coaches at the podium, but to have it on this show is pretty cool. But we're going to do something real quick. Me and Rick, there's 11 people watching because the Lightning are on, and I know I'm probably keeping you from the game. But let's do something real quick. Let's do a little draft like they do on PFT. Let's do the best players in Buccaneers history. And we can include coaches too. The best list, the best players and coaches in Buccaneers history. We're going to take a draft and we're going to go back and forth and we'll do 3 rounds and then the 12 people that are watching can tell us who won. So obviously you're the guest, you're the visitor. So you can go first. You got one person who you're going to draft for the best players on this Buccaneers team in their franchise history. Leroy Selman. That was a given. Obviously, I was losing that one right off the bat. For those of people who are, because we do have some younger fans, and why is Leroy the best Buccaneer in the history of the Buccaneers?
He was the franchise. He was the whole franchise. He was everything. He's the first pick ever by the Buccaneers. He was amazing. First Pro Bowler for I don't know how many years. They only had one guy in the Hall of Fame. Leroy Selman was phenomenal. And he was great in the community. He was great all around, everything about the guy. I personally went to the first Buccaneers playoff game and watched him dominate the Eagles in 1979. It was so much fun.
All right, my turn, my pick. I struggle with this one because there's a few players here who I think could definitely go there. But I'm going to go with the one who kind of impacted it and that play that he made is ingrained into everybody's head. It's almost a better play than the Super Bowl win itself. But I'm going to go Rondé Barber, cornerback. It's a shame he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. I think that that play to shut down the link, to bring him to the championship, that's a play that will live forever in iconic history for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise. Yeah. He's beloved. He was a great teammate. He's a great guy on and off the field. Yeah. He's still very, involved with the franchise. He comes on and he does the breakdown, the film study. He's got one out today. Go to my Twitter page. It's retweeted on my Twitter page. Check it out, or Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I'm going to go with Rondé Barber for my greatest. Obviously, it's a big gap between Leroy and everybody else. But go ahead. What's your number 2?
Mr. Derek Brooks.
Ooh, DB.
Yeah, sticking with defense. I mean, Derek Brooks was – I mean, I honestly think he was the heartbeat of that defense. That was he was phenomenal for years. How many touchdowns that during the Super Bowl season? I don't remember, but I mean he was the heartbeat of that. So yeah, I'm going to give it to Derek Brooks.
Derek Brooks goes right there. I'm going to go with another part of that. I feel like most of these players are going to come from this defense and this squad right here. I'm going to go with the hardest hitting guy to play this game. I'm going to go
my favorite Buccaneer ever.
I'm going to go with John Lynch.
Yeah.
John Lynch did amazing things throughout his season. He should be in the Hall of Fame very shortly. There was another guy who I thought here, but just the way he's carried himself after he's left this team has kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm sure has rubbed many Buccaneers fans the wrong way. And
I have no idea who you could be talking about.
Many prostitutes the wrong way as well. His play is undeniable. But for the character and the guy and what he meant to this team and the community, I'm going to go with John Lynch for my second pick.
Okay, you threw a curveball right here. We're just as you introduced this segment, you threw a curveball and said, and coaches.
Yeah. So
now I'm going to have to change gears a little bit, and this is going to probably be controversial, but I'm going to go with Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy he changed the culture. So the culture that you got with Brooks and Sapp and that winning attitude and that consistency and everything, that was all Tony Dungy. So I'm going to go with Dungy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good choice. John Gruden's got the win, but that was Tony Dungy's team. He built that. He built the culture. John Gruden is obviously an amazing coach. I'm not going to take anything away from him. But, the Bucs had a chance to get a guy that they really liked. They went after him, but it wasn't necessarily his team that he won with. It's just funny that, how ironic is it that he went up against his old team in the Raiders and ended up winning. So
yeah, that was crazy.
It doesn't happen usually. No. Again, I want to take this guy, but I'm talking about greatest Buccaneers of all time. And I think that when you think of Buccaneers as a casual fan,
I really hope I'm hoping you pick who. There's a guy that I hope doesn't go through this and not get chosen.
I mean, there's a guy as a casual fan. You don't really, unless you're older, you might know the Leroy Selmans. Obviously, Rondé Barber. You don't know what he meant to this team. Derek Brooks is a guy. Warren Sapp is another guy. But then he went to the Raiders, and people, then he had all his off-field issues. I'm going to go with the guy who's synonymous with this team. And when you think of the Buccaneers, and especially if you played Madden at all,
come on, say it.
You think of Mike Allstott.
Okay, good. I feel better because I would have felt horrible if he did not get selected in this.
Mike Allstott is the guy. Yeah. He's the guy that the A train, the guys that people wanted to see, that a fullback, people were buying a fullback's jersey. He brought that position back to life, and he owned it, and he was amazing. Do I think he'll ever get in the Hall of Fame? No. They don't value fullbacks like that. They won't look at what he did, what his impact was in games. They'll just look at his numbers and this and that. But I think Mike Allstott was, as you said, Derek Brooks was the heartbeat. I think he was the heartbeat to that offense, where it was they really struggled to have a heartbeat for some time. Warwick Dunn was an amazing player. The Keyshawn John, what they got out of him before, whatever. Joey Galloway was a good player for this team. But those players, those wide receivers were divas, and they were me guys. And
I think Vincent Jackson.
Vincent Jackson.
Yeah.
But that was more towards the end of Allstott's career.
He was after Allstott.
Allstott was the guy. Yeah. He was that guy that got you excited to watch the offense go because he was going to run over somebody. And when they gave him the ball, people better watch out because he was fairly deceptive for a fullback and for a guy his size that could just that neck pad coming out. Yeah. Everybody wanted to have a big neck pad like Mike.
He had so many long runs. If you go back and look at his highlights, it's shocking how many long runs he had for the type of running back he was.
Make the first guy run over the first guy, and just that was it. Everyone stiff arm here, and
yeah.
But yeah, so those are my 3 guys. Rick's 3 guys. Go ahead, name them off.
Selman, Brooks, and Dungy.
And I went with Rondé Barber, John Lynch, and Mike Allstott. Not bad decisions no matter where you go.
Yeah.
For the 10 people in here, we got about a minute left. Why don't you tell me who won the thing?
Come on, guys. It's R-I-C-K if you're typing in the comment box. That's R-I-C-K.
And if you're watching the replay, go ahead, type it after there. Rick, I want to thank you for coming on. I got to close this up now. We got Peter Blake with the Sports Web coming up next, but thanks for coming on. I'll talk to you soon, my man.
You got it, brother. Thank you. And hey, you may be running my show on Sunday night, so
I got you.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Take care, guys.
All right, so they got a Rick Hughes. We're going to do one real quick thing before we go to my intro. We want to thank all of our guests. Obviously, 320 Solar. Again, make sure you check them out at 320solar.com. I want to thank my guests, Orlando Franklin and Quentin Bell, Rick Hughes. Make sure you guys catch the replay if you haven't watched it. All my advertisers, Pewter Plumbing, Maltronic, Auction of Champions, Jessica Papalardo, promos for you, my wife, Taylor Allen, 320solar.com, 320solar.com, 320solar.com. Thank you. Make sure you keep it right here for the Sports Web with Peter Blake. I'm your host, Joshua Cole Allen, changing the call every week here on Wednesday night, live on Bucks Report. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
We them Bucks, and we taking over. 31 teams, best look over your shoulder. We them Bucks. It's our time to shine. They ain't never gonna stop, and we on the grind, and we them Bucks. Our team is louder, putting fear up in the league, and they folding power. We the Bucks, and we winning it all. The ship is in our backyard, and this year is ours.
Stay tuned for the evolution of sports talk television, the Sports Web with Peter Blake.